Hey, are you trying to get into CalArts? Yeah? Well, let me show you my own sketchbook. I actually failed to get in, but maybe if you watched this video, you will be able to understand the do's and don'ts in filling in your application. Boom. This is the sketchbook I used for my CalArts application. It's not too thick, but enough to show off like various drawings and skill sets. I want to be a little goofy, a little interesting by having like a cover image. So it'll be like me pulling out, and this is my like a little introduction page. Is it terrifying? Yeah, that's probably why I didn't get accepted. I want to start off my sketchbook by showing off various gestures with quadrupeds, since they tend to be quite difficult, but also want to have a little bit of character design. So I incorporated the subject matter of the first page into the character. Maybe when you make your own application, you should just have it one by one. Here's a couple more gestures. I recommend that in your own sketchbook, you completely fill out the page, either by having the drawings much bigger or by having a bunch of tiny gestures. Either one, as long as you have like a mixture of both in the entire sketchbook, should have your sketchbook way more interesting for the judges. Couple more gestures. I'm actually really proud of this one. You know, like having a couple of these in yours would make yourself look more interesting. And a couple of these studies, I recommend that in the future you put more detail into things like the hands. I didn't do that, and kind of makes it look like unfinished rather than a full understanding of the sketch and subject matter. I like this one. Way less of this. I don't know what this means, and that's probably wouldn't be very good on your own sketchbook. And again, fill it out. Bit of a character design double page. I kind of like it. You should probably do things. A thing my sketchbook didn't do very well in was I used way too many colored pencils. I didn't need. When you make your own sketchbook, you should do your best to incorporate as many mediums as you have. So if you have colored pencil is good. Have more alcohol markers or any kind of markers. Some paints will be very useful. I've seen many sketchbooks be accepted because they use paints. So don't be like me and use your paints. And again, if you use these multiple mediums, make sure that you started off, right? I started off with a lot of colored pencils and only colored pencils. Start off your sketchbook with a little bit of everything, a little bit of gestures, a little bit of character designs, a little bit of each medium that you incorporate. I like these gestures. These gestures aren't too bad. Again, I should have had more space filled in, either with the rest of the subject, simply made it bigger. This actually incorporated a bunch of different gestures in one, and having fun visuals like this would probably make your sketchbook very interesting for judges. So I wouldn't change that context. Here's a city. In your own application, you should also have way more buildings. I have 2 so far, but I believe having more with different mediums would have helped with my application. I actually really like this one. I think this is good to show a concept storyboarding skills, if that's why you want to go into CalArts. This one, again, I should have filled the page, and also this face ugly, so maybe I should have done a post-it note and covered it up. Something that people really like in CalArts sketchbooks is using post-it notes to fix up certain parts so it's not inherently visible. Here's some seagulls. These are pretty good. Again, I would have added a couple more like tiny gestures in there to really help it out. Really fun gestures. Again, a problem is that I didn't use different mediums. It's all just color pencil, which isn't very useful for your own application. This is a good size if you don't have as many gestures or as much inspiration for a single subject matter. Really blowing up the subject in the page and also adding some descriptive words would have really helped. And here's why I started using alcohol markers, and you should have started, and in your own application you should use it too. Here's a continuation of using previous subject matter as like basis for character designs. I tried to incorporate a bunch of different lizard, especially bearded dragon designs as a good context for my sketchbook. I wanted to enter the animation and character design major for CalArts, so doing something like this would be very useful for you if you want to do the same. In the sketchbook I have is very thin, so the markers don't bleed. I had to glue together two of them and have like a piece of paper on the other side so it doesn't bleed through a lot. I actually really like the texturing on this one. In your own sketchbook, try doing these much more consistently and much before in your own sketchbook. Here's some storyboards. Again, if you're going in for animation, like many people who do these CalArts sketchbooks do, include a lot of these storyboards. They're kind of fun, and also if you have the accompanying videos that these storyboards planned out for, try not to do that because they want unique projects for each one. Here's some sketchbook for other projects I was planning out. Some of gestures actually quite like this. Again, I used too many colored pencils, and in your own sketchbook having a consistently balanced out approach to your characters. Here's some gestures, some little character doodles, some work. This is when I really started being more thoughtful in the mediums I use and how consistently I vented out pieces. This one I think I really like. Having a good still life is very interesting, especially when you want to show off your texturing and coloring abilities to like really add oomph to each of your pieces. Here's some character design that I have for animation I'm working on, which is probably going to come out eventually before the year ends, at least, hopefully. A self-portrait. I was really liking the dot eye style. Some more gestures. Again, blowing up characters would really helps study detail and coloring, and also fills out your sketchbook much better. I should have fixed it up with a post-it note. Even if I was struggling with the face, I should have covered up the post-it note and tried again. Here's something good. I came back in and did a bit more of a room study. Having more of that would have been very helpful. Here's some bronze flamingos. Put them as swans instead of flamingos, which is pretty funny. Some character movements. That's very good if you're an animator, because it shows that you understand a character in perspective well, and also how to incorporate its movement within the artwork, which, do more of this, please. Some study. This is, in terms of style, this is very much used in CalArts storyboarders, and incorporating good gestures like that would probably help out. Some storyboards. Stuff like this should have been more clear. I think this kind of is a cluster of a square, so try not to be like so overwhelming with the colors I use, if you even use them. Some character and object studies. Again, this is all color pencil, which would not help within your own application. Here's one in a moving car. I should have paid more attention to the perspectives on the cars. This did not turn out as well as other people who tried the same subject matter. Here's some hand studies within your own application. I recommend that you add in studies consistently, and also of most subject matter to simply hands and feet. I chose them because they're quite difficult, but showing an understanding in, for example, muscles, poses and stuff would help even out your own works. Quite proud of these, but again, I did not study enough different anatomies. Here's something I'm proud of. In a character studies, I was planning out different props for the character, and doing this more consistently is also very useful, especially something as detailed as this. So it's been very helpful if I did more of this. Here's a bag for James, a character that's going to be in my animations coming out soon. A couple more of this, of like character exploration, would be very useful for your own application. Also, I believe many past judges have said that they like writing, not necessarily writing for writing's sake, but more like exploration and understanding of why you added something for a character design, or maybe the background information of a design. Here's some expressionist object work. I should have added better detail for this bag. I simply was just struggling with it. If you're struggling with something, you need to find ways to fix it up, because then it'll look bad on your own sketchbook and your own portfolio. You need to be well-rounded for them to like you, since it's a 25% entrance rate. These were not good gestures. I should not have included it. I should have covered it up, fixed it. This is something I should have done more. More complex character poses in like a array of movement would have been very useful in my own application, but I simply didn't do it. Some more room studies. Character gestures. Having more bigger blown out ones consistently in the beginning would have been very useful. Study of an animal. I want to know the count of each of its body parts. Bees tend to have them by threes, 3 leg segments, 3 feet segments, and such. This one is very cluttered. I would have fixed it or better understood the perspective, since these flowers should have been above, not below the prime subject matter in the foreground. Animal studies. I find these very fun, though I should have been more thoughtful of anatomy for character design aspects. Quite like the colors on this, but there are anatomy issues. Quite also like the subject matter, but anatomy issues. This should have been more straightened. Mythology, exploring subject matter that's interesting for you and not simply gestures or objects is also very useful, since it shows off what kind of stories you like to tell. And since if you're applying for 2D animation, showing off your storytelling abilities is very useful in your sketchbook and portfolio. So having consistent ideas and studies would have been very useful in my sketchbook. This is my last storyboard, and I was not doing very well in clarity. This isn't as clear as it should have been. The judges would probably have been very confused over what is going on in this particular square, and I do not judge them for that. I'm not sure if they would like this, but I found the idea of a farewell drawing in the end of the sketchbook very cute, so you may or may not want to do this. So yeah, that's my sketchbook. I hope you learned what you can and cannot do in your own sketchbook, and hopefully you get accepted. Bye!